Good morning, everyone. My name is Councillor Nick Mantis. I'm the Vice Chair of the Scarborough Community Council. We have quorum. I'm now calling meeting 14 to order. Welcome, everyone. Today's meeting is being held by video conference and in person at the Scarborough Civic Center in the Council Chamber. This meeting is also being live streamed online at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. Although we may be meeting in different locations today, Community Council would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaties signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. If you're registered to speak at today's meeting, please listen for me to call your name. I will call speakers in the order they appear on the list. The list of speakers can be viewed online by visiting the Scarborough Community Council page at toronto.ca/council and clicking the speakers box for today's meeting. Members, the City Clerk has provided all agenda materials on toronto.ca/council and on CMP, the Clerk's meeting portal. Clerk's IT staff are available to members if you need help with your devices. I also want to remind you to please submit and approve your motions by email. Staff are available at sec@toronto.ca to help with motions. Are there any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, we will proceed. May I have a motion to confirm the minutes from our last meeting on May 6, 2024? Deputy Mayor McKelvey. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We can now go through the items. Now, I'm of the understanding that there are going to be two items that are going to be deferred. So I would just like to let the speakers know that if they would like, they could speak today. But if they would like, they can also, if not today, you have the choice to speak at the next community council meeting when the item will be presented, since there's going to be no new material. So I'm just going to give the option when it is time to see if you would like to speak today, or you could just speak at the next council meeting, just so we can be as smooth and fast as possible, because we have a lot of items. I also understand that there is a new business item that needs to be added to the agenda. Councillor, let's see. You can do it on the rundown? Okay. So, then we'll go for the rundown. SC 14.1, 3291 Kingston Road and 2 and 4 Windy Ridge Drive, rental housing demolition application decision report. Councillor Candeval. Councillor Candeval is asking to defer. So I will hold them. I will hold the item. So clerks can create the motion. SC 14.2, 27 and 29 Parkcrest Drive, official plan amendment and zoning amendment decision report. Councillor Candeval, deferred as well. I'll be holding the item. SC 14.3, 528 and 530 Birchmount Road, and 118 and 120 Newlands Avenue, zoning amendment decision report. Councillor Candeval.
No problem.
So, we're holding it for speakers. SC 14.4, 3000, 3004, 3008, 3012, and 3020 Kennedy Road, zoning amendment decision report. We have speakers on the item. We'll hold the item. SC 14.5, 4201 to 4203 Kingston Road and 120 Galloway Road, zoning amendment application. This is Councillor Ainsley's. I believe, Councillor McKelvey, there's an amendment?
I'll hold.
You'll hold?
And there are speakers on it as well.
Okay. SC 14.6, 1680 Brimley Road, public art plan. Councillor Thompson?
I'll move the recommendations.
All in favor of moving staff recommendations? All in favor? Carried. SC 14.7, 25 Borough Drive, Scarborough Public Art Plan. Councillor Thompson.
I'll move the staff recommendations.
All in favor of moving staff recommendations? Carried. SC 14.8, 6482 Kingston Road, residential demolition application. Councillor McKelvey. Sorry, Deputy Mayor McKelvey.
Thank you. I will move recommendation 3.
So, can we put it on the screen?
And it's the demolition with,
So,
Conditions.
with the 4 conditions.
yep.
Okay, all in favor of option number 3? Carried. SC 14.9, 676 Birchmount Road, residential demolition application. Councillor Candeville? I'll move recommendation 1. So, all in favor of moving recommendation 1? Carried. SC 14.10, 114 Marcos Boulevard, application to remove a private tree. Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're going to ask for a deferral until the July 12th meeting, please.
Okay. All in favor of the deferral? Carried. SC 1411, 72 Bobmar Road, application to remove a private tree. Councillor Deputy Mayor McKelvey?
Accept staff recommendations.
All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. SC 1412, 11 Warbler Circle, application for fence exemption. Deputy Mayor McKelvey?
I'll move to grant the exemption.
So, all in favor of granting? Sorry. So we're moving the amendment. All in favor of the amendment? Carried. All in favor of option? Sorry, Councilor Deputy Mayor McKelvey. Which option was it?
That's it, just to grant. She
Just
pulled
to
it up.
grant.
I think we just have to vote on motion, item as amended.
Item as amended?
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
No?
We're good. We're
Okay,
good.
we're good. SC 1413, 2265 Victoria Park Avenue, application for clothing box, Ward 22. I will go with option number 2, to approve. All in favor of option number 2? Yes. Councillor Thompson said that it was a mistake and that it's actually at Victoria Park and Shepherd. Number 2. So, all in favor of option number 2? To approve the application? Vote against? Okay. So, all in favor? So, 3? Okay. Any opposed? Motion carries. SC 14.14, Watson Street traffic calming, speed humps. Deputy Mayor McKelvey.
This is supposed to be on next month's agenda, so it's been withdrawn.
Okay, so a motion to withdraw until next agenda. Carried. SC 14.15, Boyce Avenue traffic calming, speed humps. Councillor Candeville. All in favor? Carried. SC 14.16, Clonmore Drive, traffic calming, Ward 20, Councillor Candeville.
Move staff recommendation.
All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. SC 14.17, Rhydwen Avenue, traffic calming, in Ward 20, Councillor Candeville. All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. SC 1418, Brimley Road and McNicoll Avenue, intersection safety review, Ward 23, Councillor Myers. Sure, we'll hold for questions. SC 1419, Lawrence Avenue East and Danielle Moore Circle, private driveway traffic control signals in Ward 21, Councillor Thompson.
I'll move the recommendation and to say thank you to staff, and I know that there'll be less accidents at this area, and it's as a result of the New Madison development that's taking place, and also just finally acknowledge the naming of the circle, Danielle Moore Circle, which is after Danielle Moore, who died, unfortunately, in an Air Max airplane crash that took place several years ago. She was on her way to speak at a UN conference. She was one of my volunteers, and really happy that we have recognized her and happy that we'll be making the community much safer. So I'll move the staff recommendations. Thank you.
Councillor Thompson. All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. SC 1420, Warden Avenue, accessible parking space in Ward 20. Councillor Candavel.
I'll move staff recommendation.
All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. SC 14.21, dedication as public highway of Starfire Drive Extension, and 25 Starfire Drive and 50 Scarborough Road, and authority to allocate funds to complete roadworks. Ward 25, Deputy Mayor McKelvey.
Thank you. Before us is a recommendation to help resolve unsatisfactory work done by a contractor and a developer. So I have moved this recommendation working with city staff. I hope that you'll all support it today. And I just want to say it's completely unacceptable when our developers do not completely finish the roads and the works and the infrastructure that the residents that move into the neighborhood provide. So I'm hopeful this will finally get some traction on this, and thank you for obliging me, but I did want to just point out what it is that we're voting on. Thank you.
All in favor of the recommendation? Carried. SC 14.22, changes to the Wexford Heights Business Improvement Area Board of Management, Ward 21. Councillor Thompson.
I'll move the recommendations.
All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. SC 14.23, 1236 Birchmount Road, designation of fire routes and amendment to Chapter 880, Ward 21. Councillor Thompson.
I'll move the recommendations.
All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. Now we have the new business item that will be putting forward to the agenda. SC 14.24, monitoring the Danforth Avenue study, Victoria Park Avenue to Medford Avenue in Ward 20. Councillor Candavel. Moving to put the agenda. All in favor? Carried. Would like to, I guess, hold? And we're holding the item. So, Madam Clerk, do we have? Yes. So before we start with all the items that we have right now left, I would like to take a moment of silence for Mr. Jeffrey Mills, St. Clair, who passed away last week and was in our planning department. Everyone can be seated. So because the clerk needs to create the motions for the deferrals for item 14.1 and 14.2, we will go to SC 14.3. We have speakers for the item. I will be calling them individually. Speaker is Imran Khan. Imran, are you in the room or online? Online. So, Mr. Khan, you have 5 minutes to speak, And I would ask that everyone to be concise and to the point with their comments. Is Imran online?
Hello. Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is Architect Imran. I'm speaking on behalf of the owner for this proposal. Uh, and my address is 1906 Parkside Drive, Pickering. This is a proposal. The owner's intention is to build 9 houses. Existing condition is 4 houses with 4 separate lots. We are trying to sever into 9 properties and build 2 and 3-story uh, detached houses. This is running for more than 5 years, this proposal. We had struggled a lot uh, regarding the storage capacity, and it took like more than last 3 years to solve the problem. So we are expecting to get the approval from the council meeting as we have, and in our opinion, this is um, very much compatible proposal. Currently, what city requires for the housing needs and also for the future development. Different zoning already is being approved within the city bylaw, and we think this is a very suitable proposal for that area with helping people housing, and we are expecting the approval from the council meeting today. Thank you. I will be here for answering any questions regarding this proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Any questions to Mr. Khan? Councilor Canterville?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the delegate, this is Councillor Parthy Canterville. I just was curious to, what was the nature of you mentioned that it was 5-6 years of challenge in this process. What was the nature of it?
Yeah, it's mostly, actually we started with 11 lots, right? And we reduced to 9 lots. This is one challenging. We tried to make it more visible from our context. And also the second one is the storage capacity, because there are other application is on this within this area. So storage capacity is also one of the challenge for the infrastructure point of view. Yeah, these are the main 2 challenges, and now whatever the proposal is now, there is a lot of compromising from our sides to accommodate what city planning department had comments and also engineering department had comments on. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions to the deputy? Seeing none. Questions to staff? Councilors? Seeing none. Councilor Canterville? Moving staff recommendations? All in favor of staff recommendations? Carried. And we'll go to SC 14.4, 3000, 3004, 3008, 3012, and 3020 Kennedy Road, zoning amendment decision report. We have 2 speakers on the item. Claudio Bruto from Bruto Consulting. And Chris Pereira from Bahar Planning. Are you online? Mr. Bruto?
Hi, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, it's Claudio Bruto.
Claudio, good morning. I'm just going to advise you they have 5 minutes to speak, and I will let you know at the 4-minute mark.
Not a problem at all, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for your indulgence. We represent the owners of 3024 Kennedy Road. We are the neighbors immediately to the north of the subject application. You know, we have no issue with the zoning bylaw recommendation in the staff report. We did articulate some concerns and interests with respect to connectivity to our client's property to the north, because at some point our client will be coming forth with the redevelopment application. I noticed in the supplemental report that staff have acknowledged that these are considerations that they will be undertaking moving forward as part of this process. And the fact that that acknowledgement has been made in the report gives me some comfort that we'll have an opportunity to input to the plan that Mr. Pereira probably is bringing forward to you this morning. So we're happy about the opportunity to be involved, and we will soon be working on our own site plan. But we do want to ensure that the municipality, and I think they will, I think the planners are very cognizant of it, that we be mindful of where we are going to access Kennedy Road, if at all, and if not, how do we connect to the south for this property. So it's really about the connection. The other thing we wanted to bring to the table, and it has been acknowledged in the report, is that our client's property is an ongoing commercial entity. It's like a supply depot, so there will continue to be trucks and some dust and some noise from time to time, not outside of the noise bylaw, but we want to acknowledge that those residents might be moving in and our property might still be under a commercial operation, and that has been captured in the staff report as well. Those are my comments, Mr. Chair. If you have any questions, I'd be more than pleased to address them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruto. Any questions to the deputy? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Bruto, for your comments. I would like to go to Mr. Pereira from Bahar Planning to speak. Chris, are you online?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Chris,
Wonderful. Good morning.
You're going to have 5 minutes to speak, and I'll let you know at the 4-minute mark so you can wrap up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of council. My name is Chris Pereira. I'm the principal of Bahar Planning and Design Limited. We are the planning and urban design consultants for this particular application. The application you have here before you today, representing 171 stacked and back-to-back townhouse units organized in about 9 townhouse blocks with an overall FSI of about 1.2, give or take. That's excluding any areas that are being dedicated to the city. This proposal is a culmination of coordinated effort between the owner and staff to arrive at this point today in a pretty shortened timeline, given the new timelines imposed upon us. But with that being said, the application before you is really, as I mentioned, a collaborative effort between staff and ourselves to get here. Quickly, I wanted to point to some high-level policy items. We believe that the application is very much consistent with provincial policy, including the PPS and growth plan, in terms of directing growth and where those areas, where that growth should be directed. The proposal also conforms with the City of Toronto official plan. It provides a use that's permitted within the neighborhood designation. And more importantly, the proposal strikes an important balance between providing intensification of a busy arterial road while also transitioning and providing kind of a built form transition to the existing 2-story detached homes to the immediate west and kind of southwest. So the 3-story townhouses really strike a balance between appropriately addressing Kennedy while also transitioning down to the 2-story detached dwellings in the immediate area. So it's a proposal that's both contextually sensitive, policy consistent, and really will introduce some much needed housing, as we all know. And lastly, Mr. Chair, the only last thing I'd like to point to is that we have had an opportunity to review the staff report. We are in agreement with the findings and conclusions therein, and we are also in agreement with the recommendations put forth by staff. So I will make myself available for any questions that anyone may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pereira. Any questions to the deputy? Seeing none, thank you, Chris, for your deputation. Any questions to staff? I have a question. So, Ms. Daynard, would you be able to take us through the recommendations that are being proposed?
Through you, Chair, to respond to the Chair and Councillor for the area. So we're working very closely with the applicant and everything, definitely paying attention to all of the surrounding areas and that. So we definitely find that the townhouse units and everything is a very, very good fit for the area, as well as another key component of this is that there's also a continuing draft plan of subdivision that's being reviewed through this process that is taking into consideration that north-south connection potentially, but more prominently is that there is going to be that new road pertaining to Fort Dearborn connecting through to Kennedy and everything. So we're improving and everything with the complete street network there, as well as then making sure that all of the outdoor amenity space and then the units and everything are also integrating. We're also going to be working very closely with the applicant because there is going to be a subsequent site plan application to be made, and we're going to be working through all the matters pertaining that are noted in the report, as well as the comments that have been provided to the applicant. So,
Thank you so much. Any other questions to staff? Seeing none, I would like to move staff recommendations. All in favor of staff recs? Carried. Thank you to everyone that's been on the file. SC 14.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. SC 14.5, 4201 to 4203 Kingston Road, Ward 24. We have two speakers on the list. Marco Merich from SHS Consulting and Crystal Sams, Gabriel Dumont, Metro Toronto Incorporated. Marco, are you, I guess you're in the room. This is the one that was withdrawn. Okay. Yeah. You don't want to speak. Okay. All right. Crystal, you have 5 minutes to speak. Yes. Good morning.
My name is Crystal Sams, Dancing Northern Lights woman, Dinishnikaz Moose Clan Dotem, Muncie, Delaware, Dinojaba, now Toronto. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to speak on Gabriel Dumont Nonprofit Homes, 4201 Kingston Road, 4203 Kingston Road, in regards to 120 Galloway, aka Wasaya, is the chosen Anishinaabe name for the property. The rezoning is important to us because Gabriel Dumont is a community where I grew up in. I'm 38 years old. I grew up there as a child, attending day school just across the street. I met my husband there. We have 5 children. Gabriel Dumont has long been a place where urban Indigenous families have come to grow their families and be raised in their urban Toronto landscape. Our development speaks about growth, the future of our community, including demographics of our Indigenous population that need to be able to sustain their well-being in an urban landscape and while practicing the reclamation of identity, as well as growing their families in a safe and welcoming, culturally appropriate environment. Our community is made up of 80 families right now, many of which make up of large families who are housed 3 and 4 bedrooms. These families have come from us from many areas within the Canadian landscape, now pursuing their future in their urban landscape. They tend to make up elders caring for their other family members caring for other family members, young families. We need to make room for growth for the aging youth, not only in that community, but also those that are coming out of the child welfare system. We need 1 and 2 bedrooms so elders can grow into their age in a safe and deeply affordable way in this city. We need to make room for single families, maybe single mothers, single fathers that can raise their children. And we need to make room for more larger families coming into the urban landscape. The Indigenous population in Toronto is very important to us. We tend to make room and capacity for our population in a culturally sensitive way by following what our ancestors taught us, which is taking care of them in the form of the medicine wheel. We take care of their mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional well-being. Gabriel Dumont is the only housing provider in Toronto that takes care of our people in that sense. We provide on-site programming and language to reclaim that identity loss from colonization. The growth that we're proposing today is vital to the Scarborough landscape. It's vital to the continuation of our culture and identity and to our self-determination to be able to grow in a safe and affordable way for the future of Indigenous people. I thank you today for hearing me and for considering the rezoning in this area. This is a pivotal moment for the Scarborough East population and the growth of Indigenous population within the Toronto landscape. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your deputation. Any questions to Crystal? Councillor Candaval.
Thank you for your deputation. Very grateful for your voice. I know in my ward we have the construction that's started with the Thunder Women Healing Lodge, and many are looking forward to its expedient construction and to welcome new residents, new neighbors. Part of the role we at council and the city have is not just in creating affordable housing for Indigenous peoples, but also to support with the necessary services that are incumbent with new development, new housing, and the historical impacts that necessitate these supports. Not directly related to this development, but is your sense that as housing progresses, whether it's the Healing Lodge or with your development, and pardon my ignorance on the details, that there has been adequate conversation or supports given to support the housing?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gabriel Dumont, like I said, is the only housing provider that does those services in the terms of the medicine wheel. So we physically take care of the needs. We offer food security and also what we call a tenant responsibility course that we enact every 3 months. It is one thing to house a vulnerable population, but is another to keep them in that deeply affordable housing. And so we take it as our responsibility to teach people, many of which this is their first experience being in subsidized housing or in a community at which the housing is deeply affordable. So you have to teach them what that means, many of which, because of the effects of colonization, those gaps have severed, those ties have severed, creating gaps. So we take it it's part of our business plan at Gabriel Dumont is to make sure that we annually have those means to sustain the well-being in the non-physical sense and teaching our folks that are in our community what it is to be good community members, as well as addressing their heritage and cultural importance.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, do you think there's a general awareness in Toronto and that Scarborough, particularly South Scarborough, is home to some of the largest populations of Indigenous peoples?
I think that this is a part of that growth. I think us realizing that there needs to be more deeply affordable housing in this sense, in this mentality speaking, having this business plan of taking care of the physical needs as well as the spiritual, emotional, and mental needs, they go hand in hand. And I think this step forward is definitely towards that realization that more housing providers in that vulnerable sector need to step up into that game and realize the importance of putting those two parallel, walking together, are part of the future and the growth of Indigenous population, housing them in Toronto. And we're proud to be a part of that.
Thank you. The reason I asked that, when I was on the Toronto District School Board early in my tenure, the conversation on where to locate the Indigenous secondary school. I'm using that term because I forget the Indigenous name. And
NLE
it
East.
landed in Toronto Danforth, but I thought the data, and others did too, that it would have been better in South Scarborough. But that's the context to which I raise it, because there's a lot of unawareness of the numbers in South Scarborough.
Yeah, and you know, I think that that's part of it is, you know, having the support services. We have the high school that now houses the NLEC East, which basically teaches most of our Indigenous high school students. We have Eastview Public School, walking distance, which all of our children either go there, they go to Wandering Spirit School, which is downtown. They are bused to that school. That's the school you're referring to. But more importantly, the partnership with Maplewood High School right beside us, who has graciously granted us the land transfer in the name of good negotiation and reclamation of land and land back, right? And they've entered into those negotiations with us and given us that land as part of their part of our restoration of identity, really. And so it's fitting that all these partnerships within the community are happening to be able to make this project possible. And so today we ask you to consider that rezoning to be a part of that special movement and awareness into housing Indigenous people in Toronto and how we can do it in a good and safe way in partnership.
Thank you so much.
Chimikwach.
Any other questions to the deputy? Seeing none, thank you, Crystal, for your deputation.
Thank you for your time.
Any questions to staff? Seeing none. Councillor McKelvey? Sorry, Deputy Mayor McKelvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councillor Ainsley is very supportive of this project and was most disappointed that he wasn't able to be here today, but he did ask me to move staff recommendations on his behalf. This is a priority development, not just for Councillor Ainsley, but for all of Scarborough, and it will lead to the development of a 4-story building, which will see the creation of 68 new affordable units for the Indigenous community with funding from the City of Toronto and the federal government. And it's an important step towards reconciliation, but also towards cooperation and partnership with different levels of government coming together to make this happen. And these new homes will be built and operated by Gabriel Dumont Nonprofit Homes, an Indigenous housing provider who operates approximately 80 units already on site. So I'm hopeful that, and I'm confident that my colleagues will join me today in supporting this project on behalf of Councillor Ainsley, and I think we all look forward to your groundbreaking, which will hopefully be able to happen soon, pending zoning and anything else that you need. Okay, and with that, I'd like to just ask for a recorded vote for Councillor Ainsley.
Recorded vote, all in favor? Councillor Thompson, Deputy Mayor McKelvey, Councillor Myers, Councillor Candavel, and Councillor Mantis. Thank you, everyone, for all the work that you've done on this file. So now we're going to go back to SC 14.1. We're going to unmute Luke Wirrat from LCH Developments. Luke, would you like to speak today or in the next council meeting when the item will be presented again? Luke? Okay, seeing that Luke is not responding, Madam Secretary, just to confirm that the other three do not also want to speak, Dan Tadinch, Paul Nedos-Sitko, and Marina Tadinch? It will be deferred, yes, for the next council meeting. At the next, okay. Motion then to, okay. So Councillor Candavel's motion to defer is on the screen. All in favor? Carried. SC now 14.2. I'm just going to call out the names first. Paul Rogers and James, Peter Smith, Andy Bilawegian, and Ziv Kesselman. Okay. Paul and Ann, would you like to speak today? Hi, Ann. So would you like to speak today or at the next council meeting when it will be presented? Okay. Okay. All right. So we're unmuting Andy and Peter Smith from Boosfields. Oh. Peter, would you like to speak? Okay, seeing none. Now we're going to unmute Andy. Andy, would you like to speak? Okay. Wait. Peter.
Yes, hi.
Good morning. Would you like to speak today or at the next council
Morning.
meeting?
I think we decided that Anne would speak today and I would not.
Anne? You're happy to speak? Okay. All right. Thank you, Peter. Okay. So we're going to go to Anne. No, because Anne actually chose to speak. Sure. Andy? Would you like to speak?
I'll defer this to the next meeting.
You're going to defer to the next meeting. Okay. So, Anne, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of Community Council. My name is it on? Thank you. My name is Ann James, and I am a planner with Bousfields. We are the planning consultants representing Parkcrest Holdings Incorporated, the owners of the property located at 27 and 29 Parkcrest Drive, south of Kingston Road on the east side of Parkcrest Drive. I want to thank city staff for their continued efforts on this project. Over the last 2 years, we have worked very closely with staff to address the comments we have received, and we believe that the plan before you today is not only appropriate in land use policy terms, but also achieves many overarching city objectives, including expanding housing options in neighborhoods. We feel this is a great project as it will be delivering new ground-oriented housing that is suitable for families with children. Additionally, we have worked hard to maintain the tree cover on site, particularly around the perimeter, so as to better blend the new development within the existing community. As a result, we are pleased to be here today and support staff's recommendation for approval of the proposal. However, as it has been noted that the application may be deferred, we just want to note that the application has been under consideration for more than 20 months now, and we're concerned that the application is being delayed. And so as a result, if the application is to be deferred, we request that it be scheduled to come back to SCC on the July 12th meeting. I want to, or I would be happy to answer any questions, and I will note that Peter and Andy are both here representing the owner as well for questions, but I realize that they have both deferred. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Any questions to Anne? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Now we will go to Andy. He didn't want to speak. Okay. So Zev is the next person. Ziv Kesselman?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Zev.
Thank you for... Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you. You have 5 minutes to speak, and I will let you know at the 4-minute mark that you have a minute left so you can wrap up your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. You can start. Ziv?
Good to speak?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. It's in regards to the SC 14.2. I just have a small comments in regards to the project and specifically the landscape and the trees that are fencing the rear back side of the 29 Parkcrest Drive house. So it will be intact for that new project, please.
Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. Any questions to Ziv? Seeing none. Thank you, Ziv, for your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions to staff? No, because we're going to do the amendment. Okay. Can we have the deferral motion up? Okay. Councillor Candeville?
Yeah, just to give some context for this deferral, the community consultation took place before my by-election during a time there was no Ward 20 councillor. So this deferral is not a reflection of the actual proposal, but the need to have, to respect an understandable voice from residents who feel they didn't have a representative at that meeting to help navigate through some of the process. So given this, I'm not comfortable moving forward. And our intention, I had a chat with Peter Smith from Boosfields about facilitating a developer-led community meeting with staff support to allow residents an opportunity to have their questions that were unanswered addressed.
Thank you, Councillor Candeville. All in favor of the deferral? Carried. Now we'll go to SC 14.18. Councillor Myers.
Thank you. Through you, Vice Chair. Just some questions on the report. So under the existing conditions, was there any indications of how many bikes are using the east-west crossing in the corridor?
Through the chair, I'm not sure if our accounts recorded that. I'd have to look into that further.
Okay. Could you provide that information, please? If you have that information available?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And then in the collision review, I note that there were 83 collisions over a 5-year period at this particular intersection. Is that normal or typical in these types of intersections with this level of traffic?
Through the chair, in my experience, yes, that is in a range I would expect at 2 arterial roads over a 5-year period.
Thank you. And in the review of the intersection, was anything looked at to perhaps see if the level of collisions could be lower? Or was it just focused on sort of what the motion said was making it safer for cyclists?
Through the chair, so the recommendations that we did make are intended to mitigate those concerns, the sightline concerns, the aggressive motorist concerns. So those are established engineering practices, improvements, enhancements, whatever you want to call them. So we would expect that they would address patterns of collisions at that intersection.
Okay, thank you. And I note that recommendation B or section B of the report states that installation of the zebra crossing markings will be scheduled as soon as practicable. Do you have a timeline as to when those will likely be installed?
Through the chair, I do not. I would push for it, obviously, this year. We've only recently resumed our annual pavement marking program. It does not operate during the winter months because the paint does not adhere to wet or cold pavement. So I will expect that staff will prioritize that, and I will certainly follow up in that regard and get back to your office with the timeline as well.
Thank you. And so is that the same for the installation of the enhanced pavement markings?
Through the chair, yes, Councilor, that is correct.
Great. And then I'm assuming it's the same answer for the installation of the tactile walking surface indicators?
I'm not sure if that's going to be done in the interim. I think we had said that would be done through the coming work. It's a requirement for new installations. Obviously, the tactile walking surface indicators are part of AOTA. I'm not sure if that's considered to be a near-term improvement. I'd have to get back to you on that.
So, yeah, could you please get back to me on that one as well? And then the left turn, so I'm going to section K. As part of the capital plan construction program for the year 2027, consideration would be given to the implementation of a left turn traffic calming for left turning motorists. Is there any way to accelerate that timeline?
Through the chair, I cannot speak on behalf of my colleagues. That's a Vision Zero initiative. We did reach out to them. I can certainly, right now, it's still a pilot project. So I'm not sure if they're considering additional locations, but I can certainly circle back with them on that as well.
Okay, thank you. And the final question. And just the final question. So I note that there were 3 cyclist collisions, one on October 22nd, 2020 at 6:15, minor injuries. Vehicle making a northbound right turn came into contact with a cyclist traveling westbound in the crossride. Second one, October 27th, 2020 at 7:30 a.m., southbound cyclist crossing on the west side of the intersection struck by a vehicle making an eastbound right turn. Minor vehicles, and then of course, unfortunately, January 29th, 2024, at 1:45 p.m., a vehicle making a westbound left turn struck in an eastbound in the crossroads located on the south leg of the intersection. The cyclist was transported to hospital where she later succumbed to her injuries. So the prohibition on the prohibition on eastbound right turns wouldn't directly address any of those accidents, correct?
Through the chair.
Or wouldn't have prevented those accidents?
The second collision where the southbound cyclist was coming southbound, so when the eastbound motorist made their right turn, movement would be, I guess, prohibited through the recommendations of this report.
Okay. So it would perhaps address the second one, but it wouldn't address the first or the third one?
Through the chair, yes, it would address the second collision and potential future incidences at this intersection.
Thank you. Were there any considerations to what could be done to prevent the first instance and the third instance from happening?
Through the chair, so the first instance, we are, as a reminder to motorists, so we are installing signage saying turning traffic must yield to pedestrians and cyclists. So that would be for directly facing that movement as a reminder. And again, we have limited information in the police reports, but I believe that signage would have addressed or would have helped remind motorists making that movement. For the third collision, I suspect that might be something that if the pilot project proves successful, that for the left turn calming installation would be something that I can't say that if there was left turn calming, that collision would have happened, but it would address that movement.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions to staff? Seeing none. Speakers on the item? Councillor Myers?
My time.
You have a motion?
No, my time. Just reset it, please. No, I'm going to keep it brief. I just want to say, this was a real tragedy. And I really take these deaths as seriously as I take any other deaths in our community, whether they're, pedestrians being killed, whether they're people dying from gunshots. Speaking to the families after when these types of incidents happen, I spoke to her son of the victim here, and, it's quite devastating for the family. They're mourning just as much as if, their family member had died in any other tragedy. And I really think we need to really prioritize making the streets of Scarborough safer for everyone, pedestrians, cyclists, and motorists. We have, unfortunately, in Scarborough, the highest, I believe it still is, the highest rates of pedestrian deaths in Toronto. And a lot of these are, cyclists or pedestrians going about their business, and at no fault of their own, they're being hit by vehicles that are, drivers that are distracted or just not paying attention or, not following the rules. So I really do hope that the Vision Zero team can accelerate some of these improvements to make this area safer, as it's, an important cycling piece of infrastructure in that it's connecting two pieces through the Finch Hydro Corridor. And I think, it would make a lot of people feel better about using this infrastructure, because it is a great piece of cycling infrastructure in the community, and a lot of people would feel safer if we were to be able to accelerate on some of these improvements as outlined here. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Myers.
And I'd like a recorded vote on these. Thank you.
Recorded vote. All in favor, Councillor Thompson, Deputy Mayor McKelvey, Councillor Myers, Councillor Kendall, Councillor Mendes. All opposed, seeing none. Motion carried. Now, SC 14.24, the new item, business item. Councillor Candavel.
Speak to it? Thank you, Mr. Chair. To my colleagues, this is part of a larger conversation going back to 2008, when the first Danforth Avenue study was initiated, with the hopes of revitalizing that stretch of Danforth, really from Vic Park to Warden. And if you drive by it, as I do at least 2 to 4 times a day, you see that it's an area that needs some attention. Parts of it are derelict, and many in the community are looking to enhance, improve, and revitalize. So given we haven't seen that change over the 15 years, we're hoping with this, in conjunction with tomorrow's mid-rise amendments, that there's an opportunity to create the incentives to bring a vibrant stretch. There's no reason why this area shouldn't be vibrant. You've got great schools. You've got the access to Victoria Park subway station, Danforth Go, 3 great grocery stores. We need to work collaboratively with our partners, particularly the landowners in that stretch, to bring vitality, vibrancy to an area that I think in Oak Ridge, which, I don't like these terms of needs improvement, but certainly here's an opportunity that we can create the conditions, hopefully with staff support, to initiate a much needed revitalization. So my intention is to have impact with this and fulfill the original hopes going back to 2008. Because in fact, in many parts of this stretch, there's been more neglect than improvement. So my hope is to animate and actualize the intent behind this study. And I want to thank both Christian Ventresca and Jeff Cantos from planning for supporting the development of this motion. So I hope everyone can support it and perhaps join me in this study and for areas in their wards. Thank you.
Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Carried. That is the last item for today's agenda and concludes our business for today. Do we have the confirmatory bills? Could we have a motion for the confirmatory bills? Deputy Mayor McKelvey? Could you read the motion?
that bills 548, 549, and 557 prepared for the June 12, 2024 meeting 14 of Scarborough Community Council be declared as bylaws and passed subject to section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006.
All in favor of the motion? Carried. Seeing none? Carried. Good morning to everyone.
One more. That confirmatory bills to confirm the legislative proceedings of Scarborough
Sorry.
Community Council acting under delegated authority at meeting 14 on June 12, 2024 be declared as bylaws and passed subject to section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006.
All in favor? Carried. Good morning to everyone.
Thank you. Good job.